How you doing?
Remember this guy? Who's this guy?
Welcome to SenaSational Sunday on Thursday night.
It's like Thursday night football.
Sorry about we're running against Thursday night football.
Ooh,
but it's only the Browns, so it's not terrible.
Browns in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hello Facebook. Listen, we are tardy to this party. We were supposed to come at you live on Sunday, but we got a little under the weather here at the Sena House. SenaSational-Life is usually brought to you by Michael and Tina Sena, giving you motivational tips, encouragement on your health and wellness. We try to educate you, keep you inspired and aspire you to keep living a healthy lifestyle. So with that being said, we have decided to share a very private, personal story with you that we didn't have to share, but we felt like it was going to be very important to share because, again, as we're always trying to give you the best health and fitness advice, we wouldn't be real if we weren't sharing with you some things that have happened with our own health and wellness. So with that being said, I'm going to let Michael Sena tell you a story.
So, a couple of Sundays ago, almost 3, October 20th, I did my normal routine, got driven to the airport, jumped on a plane and headed up to Rochester, New York, where it's my work territory, my work region. And one of them. And that whole week, I stayed up in Rochester and Buffalo, and I never made it to the gym that week. And each day I felt a little tired, a little under the weather, or I made an excuse. I was busy.
Which is not normal for you, because even when you're traveling, you usually make it to the gym 2 to 3 times a week.
Right.
Correct? Okay.
Right. So I was out of routine, out of my sorts, but, and I remember making a slew of bad food choices that whole week.
Okay.
I was on the run. The equivalent of Dunkin' Donuts in Rochester and Buffalo is called Tim Hortons. So it's one and the same. Great coffee, great donuts, short, fast, quick fast food sandwiches, things of that nature. And I spent one too many meal in there that week, and it bothered me. But anyway, the whole week dragged on, and I remember calling my friend John Shattuck. I stay with my dear friends John and Leanne Shattuck at their house, and John says, "Don't worry, Michael. Tomorrow we're gonna do legs at the gym on Saturday, and Frank is gonna come with us, and that's Dr. Francis. I call him Francis. Dr. Francis Catanzaro, and he wanted a good leg workout. I remember he asked me, he says, Michael, I want to throw up. I want to, that's musclehead talk for. I want a really vigorous workout. So he said, okay. So Saturday morning comes, October 26th, and I was feeling okay, a little sluggish, tired, but long and short, Dr. Francis comes over the house as normal. Everybody says hello, get in the car, let's go, Michael. So I drive in my car, and I drive John and Francis, and we go to the gym. And we had what was an outstanding leg workout. You know, 23, 24 sets. We had a good pace, the 3 of us, in tandem, back and forth, back and forth. And towards the very end, 45, 50 minutes later, I wasn't feeling great. And it wasn't the normal nauseousness that one feels from a really vigorous leg workout. It was a little different, and I felt it was up here. Thought I had maybe heartburn or even gas, gas pocket here. But anyway, I said, guys, we're done. I'll meet you outside. So I go outside. It was about 50 degrees. It was cool. I remember I had a vest on and a t-shirt. I was outside and it was really hot, and I felt pressure, but an uncomfortableness more than anything. So they come out of the gym and say, hey, how you doing? How's everything? I said, John, I'm doing all right, but Dr. Francis looked at me and says, you sure you're all right? I said, yeah, let's go get something to eat. So we go over to a bagel shop, our favorite bagel shop. It's my favorite bagel shop because I love those bagels, New York bagels. And we each ordered a sandwich, and I remember sitting down at the table, and I took 1-2 bites, and it wasn't sitting well. And then I started to sweat profusely. And John and Dr. Francis kept on asking me, how you doing? By the way, Dr. Francis is an anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
So he was asking me out of inquiry, professional inquiry. And I said, no, I feel great, everything's okay. So the long and short, he says, look, you've got 2 out of the 3 symptoms. I'm gonna wait for number 3 and I'm not gonna wait too long. I said, yeah, let's get out of here, I don't feel good. I had pressure, I had profuse sweating, and then I had a lightheadedness about me. And so we get in the car, John says I'm driving. So we start driving, and we're going up the hill, I remember, towards John's house. And Dr. Francis reaches in the back seat, and he says, let me feel your pulse. And all I remember is he and John muttering to one another as my head started to spin, and he said, I can't feel your pulse. We're calling an ambulance. And I had a heart attack on October 26th. And from that period on, I went into the house and my life was changing before my eyes, I could tell. And John sprung into action. He says, I'm running down the block. We have a neighborhood defibrillator.
That nobody knows how to work.
I said, neighborhood defibrillator. Francis brought me in the house, sat me down, and the next thing I know, they're cutting my clothes off of me, the EMTs, as they're telling me I'm having a heart attack. Now, prior to that, Dr. Francis found 4 baby aspirin, gave me 4 baby aspirin, which was really a very important element to this whole thing. My buddies were sitting there in front of me. They were my angels of God that day, John and Dr. Francis, and I love you both.
Yeah.
So, here I am.
You were also rallying the dog, weren't you?
Well, the dog, Dr. Francis was on the phone, and the 911 call dispatch says they're outside. They can't come in until you get the dog put away.
His friend John has a dog.
And Sydney is my dear girl. And Dr. Francis, I can see every corner of my eyes as my eyes are rolling in my head. He's chasing the dog, trying to get Sydney in the cage. So I know there's a magic phrase that John and Leanne always say, and it's, Sydney, go in your space. Yeah. So I said that, and the dog ran right in. And then they could let in the EMT. So thank God for that, right? But they started cutting my clothes off, and Dr. Francis is an anesthesiologist at Rochester General, and they got me in the ambulance, they got me over to the hospital, and inside of 45 minutes, I never lost consciousness. No. I wasn't having a massive heart attack.
No. Right.
It wasn't a Fred Sanford, I'm coming Elizabeth, grab her, but my friend Dan once told me what it felt like. He had 2 heart attacks. He said, it feels like an elephant is sitting on your chest. That's what it felt like. So I knew I was having a heart attack, and I was embarrassed, I was in denial, and I couldn't accept it. Because for 40 years, I've been telling people how to take care of themselves and prevent a heart attack. And now I'm having one? How could that be?
Right.
I'm still in some denial about it, but I just went along with it. And you know, John and I joke about it. If Dr. Francis wasn't there, I probably would have rubbed dirt on it and, walked it off. But prudent behavior and quick response saved my life that day. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes.
And Dr. Francis and John Shattuck did that.
You were with the right people. God planned that perfectly.
It just couldn't have been better planned. But what happened was, the next thing I know, I'm laying on a gurney in a operating room, and they're putting a stent in my heart. And it took about 30 minutes, and a lot of the pressure went away, not all of it. And the next thing I know, I'm up in a hospital room, and there I am talking to John watching John talk to my wife, Tina, on the phone, telling her that this is going on and going back and forth. So, Tina, I know that I had the heart attack, the pain, but it was also a day for you too. What happened?
Well, so the day for me started where I was at the gym, and you and I spoke.
Earlier that morning.
You and I talked via text because he had been out of town already all week. There was a gala that we were going to be going to that evening. Michael was obviously not going to be able to attend with me, so I was taking my cousin to, it was the Austin Angels Masquerade Ball event. So I was preparing to go to that. We were going to be spending the night in Austin, Mia and myself. We were staying with some friends. So I was getting ready I went to the gym. You and I talked that morning via text. Hey, I'm going to the gym. Hey, I just left the gym. You were going with the guys. I was going into hair and makeup. I was going to get my hair and makeup done. Where else would I be going? But I was to prepare for that event that evening. So I was actually sitting in the hair salon when I got the text from John. And the text from John came from your phone.
Right.
And it was like, hey, Tina, Michael's not feeling great. We're going to go ahead and take him to the hospital in an ambulance. And I was like, are you joking? Because it was John, allegedly, from your phone. So I was like, you guys are goofing with me. You all were just going to the gym. So I really thought it was kind of a goof. And so he then called me and was like, no, Tina, it's really happening. He's like, we've got him in the ambulance. And then when he was kind of telling me what had happened, I'm like, are you sure? Because I knew he hadn't been feeling great all during the week. And he had a lot of anxiety during the week as well. There's just with all the travel, and we just moved, and there's so many things, right? Just normal, everyday life things. But, you know, these are major life events, and I was just like, are you sure he's not having an anxiety attack? And he's like, I don't know. They've got him in the ambulance now. Let me see. He was going back and forth with Frank then, right? So right. Frank, he was waiting for Frank to give him the message to give back to me, and so he's like, no, Tina, Frank says he's having a heart attack. So my heart dropped. I had to run out of the salon, obviously, and just he's 2 airplanes away from me at this point. I mean, that's all I could think about in my head is that I can't just get right to him. And then what do I do about Mia, my mom, because my mom had already been called as well by John. So it was like, what do we do? Trying to stay calm and cool for everybody involved. John and Frank were like amazing, giving me every blow by blow on the phone that they could, kept me on the phone as much as they could. Let me know that you got the stent right away, but he said there was 100% blockage on your right side, and that they were stenting you, and that you may need a bypass. They didn't know yet. It was just all this stuff. So by the grace of God, we were able to get a flight out. And I did take Mia, I did take my mother. It was 5:30 that we were flying out, and we weren't gonna actually land. We were gonna have to have a layover in Atlanta, and then not even land in Buffalo until midnight. And then that was another hour drive from Buffalo to Rochester, where John and Leanne came and picked us up from Buffalo to Rochester, where, I mean, you and I had actually been able to talk on the phone though at that point. So I'd been able to at least converse with you and knew that you were okay. Right. So that helped, but he's like, just come in the morning. So first thing in the morning, I was at the hospital with him on Sunday. And, you know, that was it. I mean, we stent was
woke up the next morning, Sunday morning. So I had 1 stent put in, put in. And they said they had to go back in though. Yeah. And they probably had to put a second stent and or do a bypass. Now that just set me
rocked you. Right.
in a tailspin, because now they've got to open up my heart and they've got to take a vein from another place in my body and put it in. And I'm sorry, all the great hospitals in the world, once you open up somebody's body, you open yourself up to things like infection, complications, things of that nature. And this reality just was hitting me as hard as the pressure of the heart attack.
Yep.
And again, major denial. And the reason I'm emphasizing a lot of this is because for those of you gentlemen like me,
warriors, road warriors.
The road warriors. I know I pass thousands of you every month who are probably this close to your own heart attack because the first thing, we never want to go get checked up by a doctor.
Right, which, pause, when was the last actual checkup? You had your knees done in 16.
That's your 2 hours birthday.
Yeah, so that was number one. His knees, he
She
got
definitely
double knee replacement in 2016, and that was probably his last blood work. Officially.
It was.
Yeah. Okay, so we're already 3 years past any sort of.
But because I felt good, taking care of myself, again, I'm not the average Joe with that. As many of you know, I live a healthy lifestyle for the most part. I exercise on a regular basis. And you know, here's the other thing. My numbers, let's talk about numbers, because numbers could be misleading, can give false positives, but when I asked for my numbers before,
blood work numbers.
My blood work numbers, my cholesterol was only 210. Now, I was with a functional medicine clinician today who said 210, that's perfect. You need cholesterol as you get older. You need it for brain power, vital organ function. I know that.
Right.
So I was, again, denial. How was 210 a problem? Well, my LDL, my bad cholesterol, was 178. 158 rather.
Yeah.
My good cholesterol, the HDL, was only 20, and that needs to be 40 and higher. So my ratio was off. Okay.
Yeah.
Triglycerides, 159, only 9 points above safe zone. So again, I'm not the heart attack candidate.
So blood work 3 years ago was
240 was my total cholesterol.
Still not terrible for cholesterol.
Right.
However, what's happened the last 3 years?
Okay.
The last 3 years.
Very simple.
Your whole
Bad
life
eating
changed.
on the road, this is why we call it the silent killer.
Yes.
Stress.
And how we handle it.
Stress.
Yeah.
Yes, we've had cancer in our family, hit our immediate family. We've had death. We've sold a house, bought a piece of property in another state. I was traveling, as some of you and many of you know who follow us, from Indiana to Pennsylvania to New York to Oklahoma City to Texas, try to get a builder, whatever. And Italian therapy is I yell a lot. So that yelling adds to stress.
Yeah.
So the morning after, they said I had 100% blockage in the artery that they cleared and put the stent in. They said they saw another 100% blockage and a 40% blockage.
Yeah.
Oh, you must be talking to the guy in the bed next to me. That can't be me. But yet, if I connect the dots, it was me, and I could actually put together that bad eating on the road, that quick here, that quick nibble. Oh, I'll just have a bacon, egg cheese croissant here. That's not gonna hurt me. Yeah.
Well, and you're also thinking, like, I work out, I've been healthy. You weren't even thinking about the bad food. And you've also been thinking, I've been eating this way on and off. I mean, like, you indulge.
Right.
Michael has no problem sharing with you all that his favorite 3 foods begin with a P. It's pizza and pasta and peanut butter. So,
and don't forget the cheesecake.
Cheese. He's a big, and he's an East Coaster, man. And when he comes to the East, when he comes to the East Coast, or when he went to the East Coast, big food orgy going on there, and very braggadocious about it. So he's really been in that element too, where if you can't beat him, join him, right? So your lifestyle over the last few years, a lot more business meetings, like cigars, a cocktail here and there, more food, more bad food.
I have
right?
certainly
a little more stress.
I've certainly
a little more stress, right?
Eaten more of the saturated trans fat foods, no doubt about it, and
which also brings stress onto the body.
So here's the other thing: you can have low cholesterol. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you say 210 is low. But if you're a plaque builder, and I am, and that's hereditary, My friend Jeff is a plaque builder. If you're a plaque builder, you build plaque, that is a ticking time bomb. Now that workout certainly jarred something, a piece of plaque free.
It broke.
It clotted, and I had a heart attack. But what I really am mad mostly about is me, in that a month earlier, I was in a hotel in Buffalo. And I called my wife and I said, honey, I think I'm having a heart attack. She says, you're crazy. No, you're not. It's a panic attack. And she talked me out of it. I ended up going down to the front desk and asked the young lad, 22 years old, do you have an aspirin? He handed me a Tylenol. So he didn't know. No, I said, no, I need like a baby aspirin. They didn't have it. So all you hotel moguls, and I would say every businessman that travels, over the age of 50 anyway, you should be taking a baby aspirin every day. But carry the damn bottle with you because it could save your life between the time you call 911 and the time the ambulance comes there, right? So quick thinking by my friends once again. But I stood there and I was again embarrassed, afraid that I was going to be taken away in an ambulance. That's my biggest fear in the world. My bravado, my machoism, my Italian heritage, whatever you want to call it, I was afraid to get laid down on a gurney and dragged out of a house or a hotel because that's a sign of weakness to me. But boy, has that humbled me. And again, it's very tough for me to get on camera to say this, not because of my bravado anymore, but because it's just tough to talk about. I actually have heart palpitations, what I think are, when I talk about it. In fact, the day after they released me.
So we were in the hospital from Saturday. He went in on Saturday. Tuesday, they did another procedure on Monday where they went in through his right arm to see if he was going to need another stent.
It's actually Tuesday. Remember, they got postponed. They couldn't get me in on Monday.
On Tuesday, correct, right. They were going to go on Monday, then went on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, he was
cleared, no stent,
they didn't
and no bypass.
Right, didn't need to do either, thank you, Lord. So they were able to release him. So we went back now. We're not home, y'all. We're in our dear friends who we love so much, but we were still in their home in another state.
Rochester, New York.
Post-heart attack. So
go Tigers, R.I.T.
So to come home, to be released from the hospital after all of that and not really be able to come to your own home to relax, I think was even more stressful. My mother and me and Mia were all there.
And me and John and in their house. Beautiful home.
It was all just hitting him what was happening.
And I had cabin fever.
Yeah, absolutely. He was just in a hospital.
I was in a hospital for 5 days.
So all of that was going on. And so on Thursday, we were actually scheduled to fly out to come home. He had been cleared. He could go home. So we had a flight out, which was being laid over in Chicago. That was our flight from Buffalo to Chicago to San Antonio. We got all of our phones were blown up that morning. It was actually Halloween morning. All of our phones are blowing up that the flights have been canceled because of that amazing weather in Chicago. So we found out that our flights were being canceled. Mia was melting down because she was going to miss Halloween. Michael was melting down because Mia was melting down about Halloween. And he just wanted to get home. So we decided to go back to Rochester to John's house.
They invited us back to go trick-or-treating.
So Mia could do her trick-or-treating. I could take her to do that. Michael could just chill and relax. We would drive back to the hotel later, and we would take a flight out the next morning. So while we were out trick-or-treating...
I go to my favorite place, Dunkin' Donuts. Not for the donuts. Just for a cup of coffee, because it's habit. I needed to look at my laptop. I didn't open my laptop. And I get on the phone with a friend who was confiding in each other with one another about his heart attack. And he's talking to me about all the depression I'm going to go in and out of. Well, this gets in my head. My chest starts pounding. I start sweating. I think I'm having another heart attack. I hang up the phone. I get my laptop. I drive back to John's house. Run upstairs. John's in his office. I go, John, you got to take me back to the hospital. He goes, why? I go, I think I'm having another heart attack. He goes, yeah, your shirt's wet. You're sweating again. Oh, my God. I go, I don't want my daughter to know. Just let's go. He goes, no, you got to tell your wife. I said, all right, Tina, come on up. We tell Tina. John takes me. Dr. Francis meets us again. Dr. Francis, same person, meets me at the emergency room again. They plop me in a chair. They race me past 25 people. And the next thing I know, I'm hooked up to EKGs and heart rate monitors and they got to run tests on me because they don't know.
All night in the ER.
Oh,
it was amazing.
Brutal. Could write a book.
So me and I were trick-or-treating. Michael was in the emergency room. I get home from trick-or-treating. I go back to the emergency room. We're hanging out. He's miserable. He's fine though.
I throw her out.
He throws me out.
I said, I'm stressed out. You gotta go.
You gotta go.
Get on a plane with your mother and my daughter and go back to Texas and let me just take this myself.
Right. Well, the doctors are telling me he absolutely positively cannot fly by himself, which we already knew. So Mom and me and I drove back to the hotel in Buffalo. We stayed the night there because we had already booked the room. We canceled our flights for Friday and we changed them to Sunday. We figured let's all just give it a minute here. We actually went to Niagara Falls on Friday, which we'll send you some pics of that later.
I was the guy in the barrel going over the falls.
Hey, he was fine. He was coming home. It was all good. So I was trying to keep me entertained. So we went back to John and Leanne's on Friday. We chilled Friday night. We chilled on Saturday. We were able to fly home by the grace of God on Sunday. And so we've been home now for a little over 2 weeks. Let's just talk to them really quickly about what do you think? It's still very new, y'all. Very new, very fresh, and there's been a lot of ups and downs emotionally.
My whole life has changed. I'm trying to go back to status quo. It's just impossible. I'm fighting the bad fight with that.
Right.
The good Lord has sent me a message, and the message is I've got to change my lifestyle with stress, the way I handle stuff. I love my job. I love who I work for, my dear friend Jeff Hetrick. I love seeing my dear friend John Shattuck and Francis now on a regular basis. Traveling is tough. Eating on the road is tough. Sleeping in hotels, different beds, being away from my family is tough. And I've got to process this differently or it's going to cause health problems.
So right there, though, what he just said, he wants to go back to his old ways because that's what feels normal. Right,
it's familiar.
It's normal. But where it gets tricky, and this is all of us, we've got to get comfortable coming out of our comfort zone because it's not working. So whatever you were doing, which you were so comfortable with, wasn't working. Yep. Right? So those are those harsh realities that we're all hit with. Which is why we wanted to talk to you because we know all you road warriors are like, we can probably name 10 men.
Yeah. So men especially.
Yes.
Again, you've got to look for signs. You've got to be, first of all, you have to visit a doctor on a regular basis. You have to have a PCP, a primary care physician, a family doctor.
Go get blood work.
You got to get blood work. You got to watch your cholesterol. You got to check your eating. Please don't tell me. I know I eat better than most of you, and my eating was not good.
Right.
So be real, but see a doctor. Always carry baby aspirin with you. You should be taking one every day, like Dr. Anthony Gentile back in Indiana told me years ago.
Yeah.
Visit your doctor. Be in touch with your doctor. Understand your health age. Understand what's going on inside. Have a regular EKGs done.
Yeah.
Check your blood pressure regularly.
Yeah, y'all. If you've got cancer in your family, if you've got diabetes in your family, if you have heart conditions in your family, it's there. So don't think it can't happen to you.
There's no denying family history.
Right, because that was where Michael was at. I mean,
nobody ever died of a heart attack in my family.
Because you still haven't even had a colonoscopy.
No.
Right? He's 59 years old. He still hasn't even done that. But there's all these things, and guys, we get it. I mean, women don't want it. It's like no one's got time for that. Mammograms, women don't have time for mammograms. You've got to make the time for these things. Prevention.
Absolutely. I could have prevented my heart attack if I would have listened to that sign
in your body,
in my body, in that hotel in Buffalo, New York, a month earlier.
Yeah.
Something happened that night, but here's the good news. There's no damage to my heart. I went to my cardiologist here in Texas. I took a carotid artery sonogram. My arteries are as normal as anybody's.
Right.
We did an EKG, an echocardiogram rather, of my heart. My heart is functioning at 100% of its required capacity again, and no damage. Thank you, Jesus. These are temporary. Baby aspirin, the Effiant, which is are both acting as blood thinners. I'm on a high blood pressure medication, which bothers me because it makes me lethargic, it makes me dizzy, but they're giving it to me to prevent another heart attack. I eventually will be able to get off of that. And then finally I'm on a Stavastatin, a Lipitor. But because I went and had my cholesterol checked just yesterday, they said I could cut my 80 milligrams down to 40 milligrams. So success. So I'm already going the right way. My numbers are all down. Yes, the medication is helping. Thank God for that now. But I am taking other steps to live as naturally healthy as possible. It's in my control. I already know my family history. So it's on me. And that's why Tina convinced me, as well as our cousin Christy, convinced me to get in front of the camera tonight to talk to you, because you don't want this. This is getting on a plane and having a heart attack would be the most uncomfortable thing in the world in every aspect. Being in an airport, being in a hotel room alone, to me is a part of death. You've got to be preventative, gentlemen. So and women, you have to be aware of heart disease as well.
Absolutely.
450,000 people die every year of heart disease. I'm lucky. I got a second chance. I'm going to make good on it, and I'm here to help you.
Yeah, we're going to help you all.
You can write me. You can email me. You can ask me. But I'm telling you, it starts in that refrigerator and in those cupboards. Don't fool yourself.
Right.
Quick food on the road. You've got to eat clean.
Yeah. Because
it builds up plaque, and plaque, if it gets loose because of a stressful lifestyle, who doesn't have a stressful lifestyle?
And make sure that you're doing exercise.
Yes.
If you can get some cardio as well, guys. We know a lot of guys don't like to do cardio.
Right.
Cardio is yeah.
Yeah, excuse me, but that's another thing that's changed. So I was always 80-20.
I was just going to ask you, what has changed for you
80,
in the last couple of
strength training, 20.
Yeah.
No, it's now more 60-40. So now, and the doctor explained to me.
Which he is back to exercising. He's
right.
cleared for that.
I'm cleared for that. I had my first session today. It felt great, but it felt weird. So I got to take it slow. They are recommending cardiovascular rehab. Cardio rehab. Imagine, the guy that's been telling everybody else how to do cardio their whole lives, I've got to go get not only instruction, but the doc even said they're not going to teach you how to do cardio. Yeah. They're going to monitor you. So now I'm going to know my parameters. I've got a Fitbit I'm now wearing that when I exercise, so I know what my exertion levels are. And strength training exerts the heart differently than cardiovascular activity. So duration, you need cardiovascular periods of duration, 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. Strength training is different. It loads the heart with blood and then comes down. When cardio brings blood smoothly through the heart. So we have to understand. I know this already, but I have to now live.
Just wasn't doing it. Yeah.
I wasn't doing it. So
that's changed for you.
More cardio, food.
Changed your food. And how are you going to handle your Italian stress? How are we going to do that?
Well, from now on, when I say, Tina, get my pipe, smoking jacket, and slippers, you go, girl.
Are there any experts out there on that? How to calm a
Just
crazy
say
Italian down?
Yes. That's what the doctor said. Couldn't get him to write it in a script, though.
So to leave you all on a happy, positive note, we wanted to share this with you because we love you all. And we care about you as much as we care about ourselves.
And I love you.
I love you too. This is, to me, as I told Michael, I go, this was a shock but not a surprise, because me being who I am and knowing what he had been doing the last couple of years, I knew that he was living a crazy, hectic life that was hard for him to control. So, but this does hit home. This hits home. And then it makes you start to think about all of the clients and the friends and the family members that we have that are running at the same pace. And like, none of us are invincible to it. None of us are not prone to not having this happen, right? So.
You know what made me feel the best as I've been talking about that? we're going to close right now. Thank you for listening. Thank you. This is really all serious stuff. But my love goes to John and Leanne Shattuck and Dr. Francis and Alina Catanzaro. And Alina, you gave me the best medicine of all. And that was a tub of pastavajol. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I feel like $1,000,000. That's why my heart is so good. The pastavajol.
And again, we're trying to calm him down.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching.
God bless.
We'll be keeping you updated and informed on Michael's health and his heart. And we're going to have tons of tips. You better believe it coming up. Make sure you watch me tomorrow on Fitness Fridays live. We're coming at you at 7:45 tomorrow morning, live from Orange Theory in New Braunfels. So we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.